Hey, you like cars? Okay, back again for this episode 47. Had to go check because I didn't see where I was at. But if you notice behind me, I'm not at my normal spot. Again, traveling out of town. I'm in New Orleans. See the backdrop, a little bit of the French Quarter design aesthetic. But we're not here to talk about that, okay? If you ever been to New Orleans, you visited, great food, great people, great atmosphere. We're here to talk about the car news, okay? This is a car news podcast, CarQuicks, episode 47. I don't have my little clapper, because if I did, I would just do it right now and just, get the party started. So we're just going to drive right in. So what's going on? Hope y'all doing good out there, first of all. Hope your family's doing well. And friends, family, kids, children, myself, doing well. It's my birthday. So that's one of the reasons why I'm out traveling, enjoying myself. But what has been going on? So it hasn't been that crowded or that big of a news thing going on, but there's been a couple things. And then there's an interesting subject that I might want to expound upon on like the second episode this week when I kind of get into more topics I like. But Bugatti showed off the motor for the successor for the Chiron. And while this is a big deal, it's because there were some rumblings that they may not go back to another V16, but they're going back and they are going to hybridize it, right? What I know from this is that Rimac, who has an Avera hypercar that's all electric, is a part of the development of this. We don't have any news on the car, don't know what it looks like. It's going to cost somewhere around $4 to $5 million. It's only for the elite of the elite. But they did put a sound clip of what this sounds like. I'm going to throw it in. Real quick, I'm just going to pause. You're going to hear that. That sounds properly crazy. So still, I don't know if it's quad turbo. I'm sure it is. Still V16 hybrid. It's clearly going to be probably near 2,000 horsepower because Chiron SS's had 1,500. You got Hennessy with the Venom. They're pushing near 2,000. You got other Koenigseggs and things like that. So they're guaranteed that they're trying to be at the upper echelon of like this hypercar market. They're shooting well above that. But that's all the news we have about that. We don't really have like when it's coming out, what it looks like. But there's going to be some private unveiling sometime in the summer, they said, to show what the car looks like. One of the other interesting things that has been brewing, I talked about on my last podcast when I was talking about electric EVs, and one of the contenders or people that are coming into this market was BYD. Now, here's what's going on. And this is where I said I might talk about it more in like the episode 2. BYD is a Chinese company that went from like 0 to 10% of the EV market in Europe in a span of like a couple years. Enough that it put every major company to notice what was going on. They're all like, hold on a second. We've been chilling. They are just showing up and entering this market. Elon has been quoted and shown to say that if they enter the US market, they are going to, he might have used some more hyperbole, like they're going to decimate the Western car community or situation, or they may enter in and become a direct competitor to what Tesla's doing. Well, the CEO or the owner, not the owner, but the people that are running BYD said they're not trying to enter the US market yet. They are interested only in the other outside markets, hence why they're trying to put manufacturing in Mexico, and they said they're going to focus on that market. But everybody knows the U.S. is a very big car-centric market. And if any company comes here and succeeds, they succeed worldwide. One of the things that they said, that BYD said, is that if we can succeed in China, which is a very competitive market, why can't we succeed anywhere else? But right on the heels of them saying this, the Biden administration said that they are launching an investigation into Chinese-based car companies and the surveillance they have on their EVs. Let me backtrack. Let me just kind of wrap this into one, happy gift that you'll understand what's going on. EVs are as connected as any of the cars that are going out right now. They just seem to be put at a higher pedestal for how they're connected, but everybody's car is connected, right? If you have a Toyota, They have Connect Sense, or if you have a Kia, if you have a Honda, if you have a GMC, if you have a Ram truck, they're all connected. There is some type of technology in the car or truck that allows you to either remote start it, see where it's located, get directions, see maintenance scheduling. There's something that is communicating back to AKA the mothership of the dealer or the manufacturer that they can understand where the car is going. When it comes to Chinese-based companies and the political threat and the ideologies of that government system to the U.S. democracy, is always something that comes up. So when they see the way that Tesla can update cars, send information to them, you look at, the Sentry system for the camera system, look at locations of where they're at. They now are concerned about the Chinese-based companies and what they're showing and doing on their cars, and if it can be used to surveil or grab intelligence from the U.S. and from their people that are buying the cars, from the U.S. citizens, so on and so forth. I have some thoughts on that. I'm not going to give them here, but this is what's going on. So here in BYD say we're not trying to come to the U.S. Then right on the heels of that, we see the U.S. government say we're putting an investigation on Chinese-based companies for surveillance and possibly the idea that they're using technology for nefarious reasons. Then this is going to be a very long, drawn-out battle, as opposed to basically to see if they're ever going to let these companies fully come into the U.S. car market, or if they're going to put up a bunch of tariffs and import taxes and things like that, so that when they do show up here, your competition is going to say, here is a $40,000 Model 3. Here's a $55,000 BYD car. Who do you think they're going to choose, right? That's kind of what's going on. That was one of the big things that's happening right now within that realm of EVs and these companies that are coming out. Another really exciting thing that happened, McLaren announced the Artura convertible or Spider, which is their more entry-level supercar they have in their lineup. Now, I'll be honest, I've seen one of these in person. I like how these look. I think this is one of the best ones that you can get even in their lineup, including the 720. Now, if you got money for Sennas and all the other crazy, LTs and things like that, that's a different story. But in this pocket, in this Porsche 911 Turbo S, Ferrari 296, which I love that one too. The Artura is another exciting supercar that you can buy. What they did this time is they increased the horsepower by 19 horsepower. So now it has 690. Interesting thing is they didn't do any engine upgrades. This is strictly software. And the software allowed them to even increase the EV electric mode that it has, because this has a hybridized power plant. It was 11 miles on straight electric. It's moved now to 25. That's a substantial jump, considering the fact that if you were going to a grocery store or something nearby in the neighborhood, it was 6-7 miles away, 10 miles away. You could essentially go there in electric mode, get what you need, turn around, go come back in electric mode. A few things haven't really changed. It weighs 137 pounds heavier, but the 0 to 60 is still 3 seconds flat. Top speed is still over 200 miles an hour. Retractable hard top. You can let the hard top back in 11 seconds up to 30 miles an hour. I never really, that's always been a funny thing to me. When convertible manufacturers, you could change the hard top up to a certain amount of speed, which I think is mainly if you get caught in the rain and you're on a road that has a speed limit of 35 or 40, you can shift over lanes or slow down enough to put the hard top up without having to stop the car completely. But it's always a funny stat I see. I'm waiting for them to be like, you're going to move the hard top at 65, and be like, here we go. Now we're getting started. Another car that came out, outside of, I'm looking at my notes over here, outside of McLaren, Rolls-Royce announced, so Rolls-Royce is already expensive, right? You already need to be a multimillionaire, multi-hundred-thousandaire. You just need money to buy Rolls-Royce. But there is a program for the extreme wealth of this world that can commission them to make any car they want. And one of them that came out again was for a client in Singapore. They don't know the name. Just know that this person has exuberant amount of money, because in order to do this, we're talking about these cars at $10 million, $20 million. They are insane. They made the Droptail Arcadia, and this looks crazy. Look at this picture. We're talking about, this looks like the essence of a land yacht, as far as the rear sloping, the wood, the interior. No other details. It's V12 powered. You really don't. The only unfortunate side of this is that because they're one-offs, you're never really going to get much information. They're not going to tell you where it's from, who has it, where it's coming to, where can you get one, can you see it again. We're going to see these little press photos, and this thing is going to get tucked away in somebody's mansion, coming out only on a Sunday afternoon for brunch and going right back where it was. You're not going to see it again. So Rolls-Royce announced that McLaren has, also on the McLaren, because I almost forgot this. McLaren also increased a couple other things when it came to the shifting and power of the Artura. One of the things that they did was the gearbox now performs 25% faster. They have this option where they pre-fill or pressurize the hydraulic fluid in the gearbox to essentially be ready to make the change that much quicker. So we're talking about a 25% faster shift than was on the original Artura, which is a coupe one. Now, the interesting thing that they've done this time that most manufacturers do not do when they release a new car, any of the previous owners of this supercar can go to the dealership and have them do the same upgrade for the same amount of money. No money at all. It's free of charge. They can get the 19 more horsepower, faster gearbox, all free of charge. So you can just pull up there and say, give me the 2025 upgrades, and it's free of charge. Now, speaking of other news, because that's it on the car news, really. It's a really short podcast. And like I said, I'm wrapping this up. I'm just being consistent, keeping my podcast going. One of the other things that's going on is GR Corolla. So I have something coming from a company called MST Performance, which graciously have somehow connected with them in a way that they constantly email me, communicate with me, talking about parts that are coming out well before I see them in the public. They usually tell me don't say nothing about it until they make a post. They made a post about a new intake coming out on the forums, on the Facebook group. They're sending me that one, which hopefully it's not already at the house, but they said they're sending it, and they already gave me the shipping for that. I got to check out where that's at. Also sending me a downpipe. And I'm very thankful for that, because somehow my podcast and my YouTube videos have resonated with them enough that they're like, we want to keep sponsoring you for these things. Now, the interesting part about this intake, and I'm going to show it, that's going to be floating around somewhere. I mean, if you're looking at the video, they integrated the intake into basically the shroud for the radiator part that I've been asking or wanting, not like I've been going around talking to R&D companies, but I've been wanting a company to integrate the intake in this manner since this car came out, because I just always liked that. I say OEM plus, but there's an argument that OEM plus doesn't include you removing the piping and putting big cone filters on there with covers and stuff like that. But a very aftermarket unique way of integrating the factory components into there, because Forge Motorsports is a company that has an intake similar that goes on the shroud, but you have to cut the shroud and do things like that. And you have Aventori, which has a more complete, nice, very elaborate show car worthy intake. I truly am excited about what this one is doing. Check engine lights. I didn't, like I've said before, if you see my other previous videos, I wasn't getting one on the original MST intake. I threw on the V2 fix on my more recent video just to show people how that fix goes on so that they can see it and then apply it for their own car. So I'm expecting the same experience with this next one. Me not having to worry about, check engine lights, me not having to worry about performance issues or degradation. Another exciting thing, ECU Tech now released basically phone over the air, not over the air. They released the ability for us to not basically update, flash our car. I'm using the word flash, but I'm using it in a very loose term just because it's a better way for you to understand what I'm talking about. We can now upgrade, tune, and perform those things on our GR Corollas without the need to take the ECU out and ship it across FedEx and hope for them to not lose your package and have it shipped back. We now can do this over the web, over the phone, updating the car. I'm probably going to do this sooner than I thought, because I was really waiting for this to happen. When this came, I was like, okay, if they introduce some of those stock tunes with 93 octane, help clean up the power band, give you a little bit more horsepower. I'm waiting until I get this intake from MST. When I put on this downpipe, I'm definitely going to start, obviously, nailing down what I want to do for the exhaust. I am sold on the 2J Racing mid pipe. I've already said that. I'm actually picking one up from a gentleman who has one. I'm sold on the 2J Racing exhaust, but I'm then also interested in the RK Titanium one. AWE exhausts look very dope as well. but I like it. I don't know if it's too loud for my taste or the drone issue that people have been talking about is something that I want to deal with. So I don't know yet. But once those parts do come, I am going to then go into this world of tuning, because what I'm about to do to the car is me just going for the things I want to do. Sometimes when I'm thinking about modifying the car, I try to be a little conservative because I'm like, I don't want to do that, a little aggressive. People, I don't know other people's opinion. And a lot of the stuff that I do, even though it's podcasts and videos, is out of the idea of worrying about other people's opinion, not worrying about what they think or what I do. I'm doing what I want, what I like to do. So I'm going to start applying that even more so to the car. I'm going to start doing things that others are probably not going to do, or maybe they will do, but they may not like what I'm doing. But that's the whole point, individual ways of doing this. So that's some of the things that are coming to the GR Corolla, my little GR Corolla updates. That is new. I haven't picked out wheels. I do need new tires. See, I'm really at this crossroads. The tires need to get replaced very soon. And so the conundrum is you buy stock tires that you need and be on your merry way, or you maybe try to find a deal for some wheels and tires and also be on your merry way. But then I don't know what wheels I want. And then it's suspension, because I'm definitely a person that cannot put on aftermarket wider wheels with the stock monster truck stance. I can't do it. Even though I could kind of be like I'm urban street rally, stance, but no, it's not me. So suspension is another thing. There's ways I could go. I can go a more inexpensive mid-range route. I can go a more high-end route. Some of the other companies like Olin's I'm waiting for haven't said a word, and they may not say a word for another 8 months. So we're at a crossroads soon. And it may just me just getting stock tires, finding another separate company, not the Michelins that are on there now, and maybe finding something that's comparable but a lot cheaper, and then just kind of riding that out and see what it does. But I never want to get a tire that is cheaper in the performance aspect because of how the car rides and handles. I'm not trying to lose my joys of the back roads for the sake of saving a few dollars on the front end and then losing the performance on the back end because I'm waiting for the tires and other wheels. So we'll see how this plays out. But that is something that I'm thinking of. Next episode, I'm probably going to talk more about this. I kind of want to talk more about the whole Biden administration with the BYD and the intelligence and them investigating if Chinese-based cars are potentially vessels of espionage. I don't know yet, because that gets into the political side of things, and I'm not interested in that part of it. I'm interested in the idea of, could a car become a tool used for like cyber warfare? And I mean, if it's connected in my brain, if I'm thinking about the connection of cars or technology, the things that they can do, the things that you can control, the short answer is yes. The long answer is it might be a little bit more complicated than that. If people listen to this podcast, they might look outside of their window, look at their Tesla and be like, yo, you telling me my car can decide that it's had enough and start running people down without me in it? I'm like, hey, if it can be controlled with remotes and apps to back out of your driveway, I mean, you're talking about a system that could potentially be hacked even further to do something. It doesn't have to be from foreign ideas, foreign entities. It could be somebody here playing around with the Flipper IO and hacking into your car to decide what they wanted to do. So who knows? That's more of a dystopian future, but hey, one that possibly is there. I mean, like I said, I've seen iRobot, and the joints was cool in the beginning, helping people get to work and pick up groceries and trash until they decided that they wanted to have some feelings too. And that's pretty much it. This is truly a short podcast. But like I said, I'm traveling. I'm out for my birthday weekend. Birthday week. I've been here since, Wednesday, whenever this podcast has been recorded. I'm having a good time. I'm eating delicious food because all the food here in the city is top notch. And that's what I'm here for, the food. Don't care for drinking because I don't drink. But food, that's what I do. We're going to see what comes next. Like I said, working on the GR Corolla. We're going to see what comes for the other mods, the other cars. I got other videos coming out. I have the review that I've done. I have the second podcast idea, like I said, when I'm interviewing people. I have another episode I'm doing with two other people, actually two other episodes. And I'm going to keep going. So when I get back to my normal humble abode, we're going to go for the second episode this week. And I know the schedule is terrible. I promise you the schedule is going to get much tighter. Right now, I'm throwing second episodes around without any real structure. Structure should be like midweek, end of the week, something like that. So I'll figure out what's going to happen. I'm going to get it straight and tight. But until then, and in between then, as I always say, do as you wish and do as you may. It's Cameron Biggs, your host, checking in from New Orleans. And this is CarQuicks. I'll see y'all around. Peace.